Hello everyone and welcome back to my kitchen. I am excited to be back today with a new and delicious cake for the fall season. This one is going to be perfect for any fall celebration. We are going to be making a European apple cake with the delicate vanilla sponge cake layers filled on the inside with diced cooked apples, frosted and filled with a delicate and creamy European whipped cream frosting. You are going to love this incredible cake. It's so light, fluffy, and with just the right amount of sweetness, it's going to be perfect for any celebration. For the full list of ingredients and the printable instructions, don't forget to head on down into that video description box. I'm going to have a link there that'll take you over to my website. Meanwhile, let's get started on this incredible cake. To start, you'll want to preheat your oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit and line two 8-inch cake pans with parchment paper on the bottom. Now, when you're making a sponge cake, it's recommended that you don't grease the sides, just lay a little bit of parchment paper on the bottom. We'll set these pans aside and we'll get started with the cake batter. So for this, we'll need 6 large eggs, and I recommend having them at room temperature. It's okay if they're cold out of the fridge, but room temperature always works best. Drop the eggs into your mixer bowl with the whisk attachment. Add 1 cup of white granulated sugar and 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. And then turn your mixer up to high speed and whisk for about 8 to 10 minutes until the eggs are white and very fluffy and voluminous. Next up, for our dry ingredients, we'll need 1 cup of all-purpose flour. To that, I'll add in 1/3 of fine almond flour and 1 teaspoon of baking powder. Take a spoon and mix this all together. When making a sponge cake, the most important step is to whisk the eggs and the sugar properly for long enough until you have a very fluffy, very voluminous mixture, and it should be kind of pale, creamy, almost white in color. We're going to set aside this whisk now, and now we can start adding the dry ingredients. And I'm going to add the dry ingredients in thirds, so grab a little sifter. I like to use this fine wire mesh and just sift those in, and then you want to grab a spatula and very gently fold those dry ingredients together with the eggs and sugar. Fold from the bottom of the bowl and be very gentle so you don't deflate the eggs. Next, we'll divide the sponge cake batter evenly between our 2 prepared pans. And I like to use this kitchen scale for accuracy to make sure that the layers are even. My sponge cake layers are ready to go into the oven. They're going to bake at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for about 22 to 25 minutes until they develop a deep golden brown color on the top. As soon as they're done baking, I'm going to take them out of the oven, and while the layers are still hot, I'm going to run a knife along the edge of the pan to release the sponge cake layer from the sides, and then just let the layers cool down completely. While these are baking and cooling, I'm going to show you how to make a delicious apple filling for this incredible cake. For the apple filling, we'll need 3 large apples, and I recommend using a sweet crisp variety like these Honey Crisp or Fiji or Gala apples. And then just use a peeler, remove the peel from the outside first. Finally, dice your peeled apples. And then drop the apples into a pot or a deep saute pan like I'm using today. Bring the apples over to your stovetop. We're going to cook them over medium heat. I'm going to sprinkle in about 1/3 cup of white granulated sugar. Pour in a cup of water. Let it simmer away anywhere from 15 to 25 minutes until the apples are completely cooked and tender. And the cooking time will really depend on the apple variety. I'm going to close this with a lid. After about 7 to 8 minutes, you want to remove the lid and then let the apples continue to simmer away over medium heat until they are soft and tender. And then the liquid should become really thick and syrupy. And now we can remove this from heat and let it cool down completely before using it as a filling. And now let's get started on our frosting, and I recommend waiting until the sponge cake layers and the apple filling are completely cooled before making the frosting. I'm going to start with 8 ounces of cream cheese that's been softened at room temperature. I'm going to use my mixer to beat the cheese by itself until it's nice and creamy and clump-free. And to my beaten cream cheese, I'm going to add in half a cup of sour cream and pour in half a cup of sweetened condensed milk. Add in approximately a teaspoon of vanilla extract. And if you wanted a sweeter frosting, you could also add half a cup to 1 cup of powdered sugar. Now we'll use our mixer to mix this all together. I'm going to switch over to my stand mixer for the next part of the recipe. We're going to need 3 cups of very chilled heavy cream. You want to make sure it's very cold. Even place it into the freezer for about 10 minutes to make sure it whisks very nicely. Have your whisk attachment on, pour that into your bowl. Now we're going to whisk the heavy cream until it reaches very stiff peak, so about 4 to 5 minutes. Start on a slow speed first. And once that whipped cream reaches stiff peak stage, it's time to add our cream cheese and sour cream mixture. Just drop it right in. And then whisk this for a minute or two until you have very fluffy and creamy frosting, allowing the whipped cream and the cream cheese mixture to come together. And now let's put together this incredible apple cake. We're going to need to split the sponge cake layers in half first. So grab a long serrated knife, just kind of go around the edges first, make a mark, and then we'll cut all the way through. Perfect. This will give us 4 cake layers total. We'll start by adding a generous amount of our whipped cream frosting and then use a spatula to spread it evenly to the edges. Now this is a heavy cream-based frosting, so if at any point during the process your frosting starts to get too soft, place the entire bowl back into the refrigerator, let it get really nicely chilled, whisk again, and then that should solve all your problems. Next we're going to add in our apples. Just kind of sprinkle them right onto the whipped cream. Add on the second cake layer. Make sure it's nicely centered. I actually forgot to do this for my first layer, but I like to soak the sponge cake with a little bit of cream, just plain cream. If you want to add more sweetness, you could sweeten the cream first. And now let's add a crumb coat layer of frosting on the outside. This is a nice thin layer that will just seal in all the crumbs. And I'm going to place the cake along with the remaining frosting into the fridge. Let it chill for about 15-20 minutes, and then we'll come back to add our final layer of frosting. I'm going to garnish the top of my frosted cake with a drizzle of melted chocolate. I just melted some chocolate melts in the microwave, transferred them into a little pastry bag. You can also use a Ziploc bag. Just adding a little something extra to the top. And I transferred my remaining whipped cream frosting into a pastry bag. Today I'm using a Teco tip number 847. We're going to add nice little dollops on top of the cake. And then I'm going to take that leftover apple filling, kind of add it in between here. So let's grab a serrated knife, cut all the way through. And check out this incredible cake on the inside. Just love all the layers of the sponge cake with that incredible whipped cream frosting and then the pieces of the candied apple on the inside. This is going to taste so delicious. And that's it for my European apple cake recipe. This is such a lovely and delightful cake for any fall celebration or just because. Don't forget to head on down into the video description box for the recipe link. I'll have all the details up on my website, including this recipe with metric measurements. Meanwhile, let's dig in and enjoy this incredible cake. My mom makes a slightly simplified version of this cake. She likes to use applesauce on the inside, and it's one of our family favorites. She makes it year-round, not just during fall, so I know you're going to enjoy it. So let's grab some of the sponge cake along with the apple and then this incredible European whipped cream frosting. It's actually one of my favorites because it's not too sweet and it's so fluffy and so creamy. You're going to love it. Just wow, this cake just melts into your mouth. That sponge cake is so light and delicate. It soaked up some of that cream. And then combined with the apples and the whipped cream frosting, it is simply divine. You are in for a real treat with this incredible cake. And another part that I absolutely love is this cake isn't too sweet. You have just the perfect amount of sweetness coming from the apples, the cake, the whipped cream frosting. All this combined together is incredible. You won't be able to stop yourself from eating slice after slice of this incredible apple cake. It's so easy to eat and it's great with a cup of coffee or tea on the side too. Thank you so much for watching my latest episode. I hope you enjoyed this incredible cake at home during the fall season, and I'll see you next time with a new recipe.